Hi everyone, hey, you are tuned to Ignite Yourself, Living Life on Your Terms. My name is Carol Reid and I have a business called Soulpreneurs, which works on liberating you from your own limiting beliefs. And today we're talking about the power of intention. So what do I mean by the power of intention? Well, really I'm talking about how when we intend to do something, when we put something into our psyche, into our mind, write it down, that whole power of that and where it leads us. And unfortunately, a lot of us spend our lives not working in intention. And so we end up where we're going to get to, because if we have no plan, we won't end up getting there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And Ken, I can see you itching to want to ask me a question. Come on, get in there, Ken. Ken's our great advocate for making sure that I'm keeping us all on track.
I'm the naysayer, really.
You are. I love it.
I'm the naysayer. I mean, life is full of good intentions, isn't it?
It is.
But life gets in the way.
Does it?
Doesn't it?
It does.
Because, when you say it, it sounds great, and you think, oh yeah, I must do that. That sounds marvellous. Or I come along and spend an hour with you, and you think, I'm leaving here, and I'm going to put into practice just what Carol told me. And unless you're really highly motivated like you are, I think most of us fall by the wayside, don't we?
There is that intent. There is the aspect that people can, not follow through. And and the thing is, I guess, when you've made a pact with yourself that you will do something and then you don't do it, the energy of that gets quite heavy and it drags you down, which is often where we lead ourselves into black holes and things like that, because we'd said we'd do something and we didn't do it, and then we're doing something else. And an analogy I kind of like to think about is, imagine yourself as your best friend. How would you treat your best friend? Would you be really harsh with your best friend and say, you are useless, you didn't do that thing, you're terrible to be around, you're a terrible person because you said you were going to do that thing and you didn't follow through with it? Why are you even here? You just wouldn't do that. To have a best friend and to keep the best friend around, you'd be kind to them and you'd encourage them and you'd say, hey, come on, we said we're going to do that thing, let's get out there and do it.
Although I do think you'd be probably best to involve your best friend when you have an intention, because
good point.
It's so easy to let ourselves down because we've got no one else to blame.
That's right. So accountability, like you touched on earlier, accountability is really, really important, and being able to know that you can call me and get a bit of a boost and say I was supposed to do that thing, or making sure that you're accountable to your family. But the ultimate accountability is obviously with yourself and rest with yourself. So it's being able to just schedule in one little thing a day towards whatever that goal is. And I say to people, what I talk to people about is 3 things actually in your day that are going to contribute towards your overall goal or intention for that year, that month, or whatever it might be.
I suppose that easy to start, easy to get involved, but it's a matter of keeping it going.
It is. Consistency is the thing. And so the next sort of aspect of living with more intention is paying attention. So we've got intention and we've got attention. So paying attention to what we're doing, paying attention to what's going on in our lives, because what happens is there's a statistic that's 46.9% of people don't actually pay attention to what they're doing in the moment.
No, I would believe that too.
Yeah, which is that whole mindfulness aspect of living your life mindfully, is recognising that in the moment I'm here, I'm working really, really, focused on what we're talking about, where I'm working with the audience, working with you, and I'm giving, my full attention to what I'm doing right now. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do with the kids later. I'm actually really focused in on what you're doing. In fact, I had a conversation with someone just yesterday, and they said, I don't know how you manage to manage all these balls that I have in the air, but the fact is I actually came to a conclusion myself that actually I do that because I focus in on this thing and then I cut the ties to that and I focus in on that thing. So when a person comes and works with me, I'm really focused in on what they're wanting to achieve.
Although subconsciously you might be doing it.
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of mind power too. But I think I'm pretty, as I say, I'm quite focused in when and I guess I try not to overload myself too, so I'm really mindful of that there's only so many hours in the day. We all have 24, but it's how we cut them up and manage them. And so having that intention is really important, to be able to know that today the 3 things I'm going to do are X, Y and Z, and scheduling them into your schedule. So if what's important to you, for instance, is I want to go for my run today, I'm going to make sure that I follow through on my run, because when I do my run I feel better afterwards. Or today I'm not going to eat any sugar, and that's one of my little downfalls. Everyone's got their downfalls. Today I'm not going to eat any sugar. I'm going to eat, clean and healthy. And look, if that one day goes by and I've done that, that's great.
Ideally, will we write these intentions down?
Yes, so the power of writing stuff down is really, really important too. So making sure that it's scheduled in your diary, as I said, so you've got those 3 things. The other aspect of it is having the right attitude towards it. So again, that conversation in your head that you're having with yourself as your best friend, if the attitude is, I suck, I didn't do that thing that I said I was going to do, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you'll do it tomorrow?
Yeah, well, let's go back to that example of you with sugar.
Yeah.
When you're eating sugar, do you think, I suck?
No, I don't. I go, actually, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this.
That. Yeah,
I'm going to enjoy this piece of sugar because, again, my intention and my attention is on the sugar, right?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. I don't have to have 5 million pieces of chocolate. I just want to have that one piece or that one toffee pop. I'm into the white toffee pops at the moment. They're so yummy. So just 2 actually last night was what I had.
That's just making an excuse, though, isn't it, to get out of it? To forgive yourself for being slack.
And what's wrong with forgiving yourself?
Nobody died.
Nobody died. Hey, and I just want to introduce, I haven't introduced our lovely guest today. I've got a recipient of the Desire Map workshop with me, and lovely James Stanford. Thank you very much for being here today.
Welcome. Good to be here. Good to be here. Yeah,
thank you for being a lovely guest on our show.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into just a little bit about what we've covered, the work that we've done together.
Sure.
But I think first of all we need to have a wee break, Ken.
Take a break, have a song.
Have a song. Have a bit of a sing-song. Have a sing-along.
Let's do it.
Hi everyone, you are tuned to Ignite Yourself, Living Life on Your Terms. This is Carol Reid from Soulpreneurs, and I'd like to welcome my lovely guest today, James Stanford. How are you, James?
I'm very well, Carol. Thank you. Very well indeed.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and spend some time here on the show. And I really asked you because we've done some work together in the past.
Yes.
And we went through and did the Desire Map together, which is a program that I offer as a sort of range of tools, but we sort of stick to that as our flagship kind of product, and we go through the motions of understanding what is desire mapping, and that is really about how you most want to feel in your life. So tell me about what aspects you enjoyed about the Desire Map.
Well, for me, I mean, it was a real way of actually getting down to the nitty-gritty of what it is that you want out of life, and then actually creating a pathway to enjoy that life and pursue. I mean, a part of it was not even goals driven. I mean, goals are nice to have, but it's very important to enjoy the journey to the goals.
Totally.
Because what you can have is this sort of ever disappearing horizon where you're constantly striving for whatever it is, this certain car or this certain house or this certain thing,
holiday or something.
And what happens is you attain that certain thing, and then within about, it depends on what it is, but within a reasonably short period of time, the same feeling returns that you then need to move on to the next goal. So you've got to be really cautious of the ever disappearing horizon and actually enjoy wandering along the path to the horizon and being in the moment.
Yes.
So enjoying, like I'm enjoying talking on the show here, and it's great to be here, and that's what life's about. And for me, the desire mapping was a real literally a roadmap to be able to achieve that, and it sort of got things in perspective for me and allowed me to implement some practices in my life that have changed me. You know, I'm a different person to who I was a year ago. I'm a lot less wound up about things. I take things in my stride better. All sorts of benefits. And if I'd have known what it was going to do at the time, because it sounds quite simple, doesn't it? Desire mapping. It sounds like a kind of a phrasal sort of thing that's come along, but it really is quite special and quite big. You know, you are looking at taking what you don't like in your life and moulding your life to a way that you will make you happier, you know. And at the end of the day, everyone is driven to be happy, and if you can do something that creates that, go for it.
That's so awesome. I love hearing that. And I love hearing that, you've recognised the changes in yourself even, a year ago when we first started to where you are now. And I think that's the thing for people, because quite often I think people just don't know what they want. And so they go along thinking that they know what they want, but actually they don't know what they want. They sort of fumble around, and getting clear on that really allows you to be freer, because it's been able to say, well, actually, I want to be able to feel a certain way, because like you say, we're striving for that physical thing, but actually that physical thing's going to make us feel a certain way, and then we'll go for that next physical thing, and that'll make us feel a certain way. So it's been able to recognise, actually, the way I want to feel is this. So if I want to feel that way, what am I going to do to get there? So it's reverse engineering, what you're wanting to get out of life. And like you say, the journey is just so important.
Is that the problem with continually setting goals, that you forget to live?
You forget to live? Yes.
Well,
yes,
there's a danger of that, definitely.
There's a saying, we're not human doers, we're human beings, and we seem to be always doing, and it's just about, like you say, and like we're talking about on the show today, it's that power of intention and attention, and being clear in the moment to have the right attitude to be able to stay in that attentive moment, enjoy the moment.
How do you break it down, though? I mean, you've got the power of intention. You want to be, say, James, you want to be the best real estate agent in the world, and that might entail you working 60 hours a week to be that good, but all of a sudden, your family's suffering. So where do you draw the line with intentions? Yeah,
so we talk with the design map. We go through the 5 areas of your life, and so part of that, James would identify if his intention was to want to be the top salesperson in the world. We would sit down and work through his goals, but we do that first of all by recognising how he wanted to feel. And one of the things for being the top person in the world might be that it's creating security, or it's for his family. So ultimately, he's doing it because he wants to provide for his family. So if that's the case, is there another way we can do that would still provide that feeling, that doesn't leave his family out on the way? So it's allowing for balance in the life as well. But you're quite right. It's looking at those goals, but actually figuring out, why do you want them? Why do you want that? And is it because Dad said you had to be the best real estate person in the world? Or is it because Mum had an opinion of you that was this, and you were trying to live up to it? Some of those sorts of things as well. Are you trying to please other people? That's massive.
Yeah.
We've got a massive, in New Zealand especially, New Zealanders are very much about pleasing others. They're very, very much about that. That's why people love coming here. That's why they love our country, because we're about that.
It almost sounds like you're saying to us, let's live our lives and be hippies. Is that how you hear what
live our lives and be happy?
I'm a hippie in a tie, absolutely. Yep.
Oh, be a hippie, be happy, be a hippie.
and even in terms of real estate, what I've found with real estate is if you focus on people and looking after people, the monetary is a kind of secondary benefit of looking after people.
Yes.
So, and that's quite easy, and all human beings have got an innate want to help people and be good,
Sure.
and do nice things for people. So real estate's easy. If you do that, the monetary side of it takes care of itself.
The money will come regardless.
Yeah.
And that's what they say about doing your dream job, right? You don't have to work a day in your life if you're doing your dream job. It doesn't feel like work. And so it's that kind of thing as well, thinking about how do we bring it all together so that you're feeling like stuff is just in flow. We've talked about this, haven't we, James? Being in flow. Why do you want to put your canoe up the river and just keep paddling up the river against stuff you don't like? Why don't you turn your canoe down the river and just go with the flow of stuff? And I can hear Ken about to say, but that's just not easy to do, is it, Carol? Is that what you're about to say?
It isn't easy to do. I mean, with the way you've mapped out your life, how has it changed from what you were doing a year ago? You're probably doing much the same, are you?
I probably am doing fairly similar. The main things I've changed would be I do meditate daily. That's had a large impact on my sort of stress levels. I exercise regularly. which I have done for a fairly long time. I've also gone into a business partnership to help alleviate some of those pressures that you're saying about working 60 hours a week and stuff like that. My wife works in the business as well, so that has also allowed us to help there. And my two eldest children are 18 and 20, so they're kind of in that realm of starting to do their own thing. Still have an 11-year-old, and it's I try and make sure I'm home to see them every day and read stories or whatever it is, that sort of stuff.
Would you say the biggest thing though, James, would be your ability to be able to not to manage the level of stress and overwhelm at times, eh?
Yeah, so what's changed is you're right, nothing has actually changed externally. Everything has changed internally. So it's the way I'm sort of looking at it. When a problem comes along, problems are part of life, and they will come along whether you want to be angry about them all the time or not. What I do know is if you are angry about them all the time, you will have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And it's quite, you can see that, and you can see that happening to people.
And you can actually see it on their faces. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but people's faces tell a lot about their lives. And if they are people that stress a lot, there's a lot of lines. There's a lot of work going on in the face. There's often a lot of because you've got hardly any lines here, and it's actually it's an important thing. You've got a couple there.
I've got loads of them.
But there is actually such a thing as face education, or whatever it is. Chinese, they read faces and tell you what's going on in your body. Yeah. But it's quite an interesting thing around the quality. So I also think, though, also for you, James, you have you've moved on in terms of even some of your financial aspects. The way you were thinking about money's changed.
Yeah.
And I often talk with people about that money is one of those things. If it was your friend, again, how would you treat it? Would you be grabbing it around the neck and saying, "Come and be with me," or would you actually be saying, "Hey, let's enjoy one another's company, and I invite you into my wallet anytime you'd like to pop round."
Yeah. But I think in the main, you can really only enjoy life well if you have money. Would you agree?
No.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I think. Tell me how you enjoy it if you haven't got the money to do it.
Well, because if we put money at the centre of enjoyment, then it will be. And if you don't have it, then you will consider yourself to be not enjoying. But there are plenty of people in the world who would not have money, who would be sitting, and even just to have food for that day would make them happy. And
conversely, the other ones with no money,
you sort of feel it like you're filling a spiritual hole with coins, and that's probably an easy way of saying it, I guess. But it doesn't necessarily make you happy.
No.
It gives you options and allows you to do things within societal realms easier. But if at its core you know that it doesn't make you happy, and that being happy comes from somewhere else, again, you will end up with money because you're a better person and a more energized, sort of friendly vibration coming off of you that people want to talk to you and be around
gravitate
you.
They gravitate.
Is it that simple, Carol? That it gravitates to you, the money gravitates to you?
Yes, it can do. It can be that simple. Life is as hard or as simple as you want to make it, and I think that's the whole point of the power of intention. Is that if your intention for the day is to just enjoy and recognise some of the synchronistic, awesome times that happen within the moments of the day, then your day will be a fulfilling day. If your intention is to want to create a lot of stress and run through life in a way that's hard, it will be hard.
Now, you both mentioned the word today, mindfulness. We're just about out of time, but I just wonder, James, are you mindful of each day when you get out of bed? Do you start off being mindful of the day ahead of you? Well, you mentioned that you meditate, so...
Yeah. So I will get up at 4:45. I listen to something to stimulate my brain and learn something, and then I'll meditate for about 40 minutes. And just having that space of quietness, like if I had realised 20 years ago what being quiet for 40 minutes a day could do to somebody, it's just unbelievable. It truly is unbelievable.
It doesn't have to start there, though. I think people
No.
get concerned. Oh no, I've got to sit in this Buddha pose for 40 minutes. I don't have it.
No, I started doing like 4 minutes,
Yeah,
4 minute
exactly.
meditations. It's just grown up to that because it's so blooming good, and it's
Yeah.
so good for you and good for your soul. It really, it's amazing.
And it is really good for your physical being. So there's lots and lots of research out there coming out now where they've done research over 20, 30 years, 50 years of people, and even some of these spiritual gurus out there, they've looked at their lives, but general populace, because meditation and mindfulness is becoming more and more available and more of a thing that people understand in this fast-moving pace to keep ourselves centred. It's a thing that we do, and it doesn't have to be anything too big. I actually do an RPM, rise, P, meditate. So
Okay, we're just about out of time, actually, so we'll leave the last word to you guys.
leave the last word. Yeah. So James, anything that you would want to share with anyone around the Desire Map, that perhaps if they were considering it, what would you say to them?
I think, a lot of people probably are at work or doing their thing thinking, what am I doing? If you are thinking, what am I doing? And, if you can get someone to get involved, to get you focusing on how you want to feel and how to actually achieve a way of living that you feel, where you're feeling good, this map allows you to do that. That's probably the key thing. And look, it's an easy one to quote, but row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yeah. Oh, I love
You
it.
could sing the rest of it, Carol.
That's about it, isn't it? Thanks, ladies and gents, and please do tune in again next month. But I hope you've enjoyed today's show, and thank you so much, James, for being in here.
That
I
was
really
good. Good
appreciate
fun.
it.
Cool.